Well, good morning. This morning we read 1 Chronicles chapter 19 through to chapter 22 and verse 1. First we see David winning battles. The first battle caused by a misunderstanding of why David had sent his messengers to the neighbouring king. He'd sent his messengers to the Amorites because he wanted to show respect, but this was interpreted as an act of war. And so then there was war. And the regional power, the Ammonites, came alongside the Armenians and were defeated, and David now defeated the two major regional powers. And then we go into the next chapter and we see David sort of mopping up, expanding his territory, and finally weakening and finishing off the Philistine might. So now David's established in his kingdom and everything's going well. And then in his pride, David wants to show what a great king he is. And so he orders a census so he can count up the number of people in Israel, and so he can boast about it and publicize that he has so many thousands of people. He's advised against it, but carries on anyway. We must be careful, having won great victories in the Lord, after the Lord has used us, that we don't become puffed up with pride. And this brought a punishment from God. David had a choice of three, and he chose a plague that came across Israel. And the angel of the Lord came and was punishing the people for David's sin, and stopped at this threshing floor. And the angel of the Lord stood there. And David recognized, as he made the offering there, he bought the site. He refused to take it freely. He said, I will not give to the Lord that which costs me nothing. And he offered the burnt offerings to the Lord, and recognized at this point where the angel had stood, this was going to be the place where the temple was built, there in Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where Abraham had offered Isaac. Now the angel of the Lord had stood. Here was the place of the temple, and still today we can go visit that very site and see that the outer wall of the temple of the Lord that was built and established. Here we see, in these passages, we see so much. We see God gives us victory. We mustn't become proud. But here we see as well why the temple of the Lord was in the location it was in. The Lord bless you today. Amen.